Let's start this off. Do you know who Gary Coleman was?
Yeah, I saw him here and there, and then there's a famous clip like, "What you talking about, Willis?"
Of course. Yeah, he was a beloved sitcom star on Different Strokes.
Yeah.
And I mean, his career kind of fizzled out after Different Strokes. He didn't have much success after that. I mean, he was on some talk shows and stuff, but he never that was his peak, was Different Strokes. And of course, a lot of people thought he had more money than he did. It was in the 70s when the Different Strokes was made, and there wasn't a tremendous amount of money for him, especially he was a kid, you know. So they probably didn't pay him as much as other people. That was kind of the peak of his career, and as he got older, his acting career kind of fizzled out. But he still maintained some sort of fame because he was the what you talking about Willis guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember growing up, he was always like, "Oh, come into Comic Con, is this guy?" You know what I mean? Kind of
Oh
thing.
yeah,
He
I
was the
didn't
kind
know
of guy
that.
where he did appearances.
Hmm.
But I was also like, I was looking him up since you brought him up yesterday, and I was seeing that like he actually sued his parents for like mishandling his money.
Hmm. Interesting.
So
You
I mean,
kind of see that with child stars that don't know what's going on with their money.
yeah.
They don't really know what money is because they're children.
Hmm.
And their parents are handling their estate. I guess it could be odd. Money changes people. We've talked about
Oh
that
yeah.
before. Mr. Coleman died a few years ago under some would say mysterious circumstances. Did you know anything about this before I brought it up?
No, I actually didn't know he was dead until you
Yeah.
told me yesterday.
Yeah.
Which
So
yeah, mind blown.
yeah, it's rough. I mean, like a funny guy. You're kind of your average wholesome sitcom guy.
Hmm.
And there wasn't any controversy around him. He was a stand-up guy as far as everybody was concerned. He had these issues regarding his money and stuff like that, but he never like
Yeah.
punched a cameraman or a lot of these you know what I'm saying. A lot of celebrities get into some kind of controversy. In 2005, he met a woman on the set of a show, and they met, married, and divorced in the same year, all in the same year, right? And her name was
Nice.
Shannon Price. But they still continued to live together, I guess. And when they would go out in public, they would say we're married, which is very odd, you know.
Yeah.
And he had a will prior to meeting her, but they were only married for a few months, and apparently he hand wrote a note that amended the will and put her as the beneficiary of his will, which is very odd. Like, why would you handwrite a note like that? And
Hmm.
apparently the note said, "I'm writing this note of sound mind. I'm not being coerced in any way." It was just kind of odd language, you know.
Yeah.
And a few years later, boom, dude's dead. So he died in 2010 in their Provo, Utah home, right?
Yeah.
And there's a 911 call on YouTube, and we're going to link it in the description, but it is bone chilling if you listen to this thing. So apparently he fell down the stairs, right?
Yeah.
And Shannon Price, calls the police and says, "Hey, Gary's on the ground. He fell down the stairs, blah, blah, blah." And she makes it a point to say, "I had nothing to do with this." Like
Yeah.
it's super weird language. Like if your spouse is like laying on the ground bleeding and stuff, just having fallen down the stairs, why are you going to say I had nothing to do with this? That's so weird to
Well,
say to a 911 operator.
not just that. She was like, "Oh, like I don't want to go in there and touch him because I don't like blood." You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. I
But
think
then at
that's like
the
the
end,
weirdest part.
she's like, "I got blood all over me." I'm like, "Wait, I thought you were scared of blood. How'd you get blood on you?" You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of like what? A lot of like weird moments in this call. But one of the weirdest things is at 1:55 in the video we're going to link in a minute 55. If you really strain your ears, you can kind of hear him say, "Why'd you push me?" in the background, and it's like, whoa.
I didn't know anything about this, and so you sent me this video, and you can like clearly hear he says like, "Why'd you push me?" in the background. You know what I mean? And then like not just that, like at the end, it seems like he can move. You know what I mean? And she's kind of telling him to, like, sit down. You know what I mean? Stay down. Don't
Mhm.
move. Don't move. You know what I mean? He's trying to. I don't know. It's just really weird. It's yeah.
It's just so odd. Like a loving wife is or a loving spouse is not going to leave the room, you
Yeah.
know. Is not going to be repulsed by their bleeding spouse. Like if my one of my family members was injured, they could bleed all over me, dude. I'm
Hmm.
like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, I maybe I'm just saying maybe I'm an armchair quarterback on this, but I don't feel like that is genuine, you know.
Yeah.
Which, by the
Plus,
way, we're not accusing anybody of a crime here. We're just talking about an interesting thing. So
yeah.
there's a lawyer listening. We're not accusing anybody of a crime. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
odd.
just more like a cold case kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
I think it's weird how they were divorced and it was finalized, but then they were still seen together. Like they were still living together and like a couple, they would say. I don't know
Yeah.
if you saw that. Um,
Yeah, they would go out and say like they would go out as married people and like they were keeping up the appearance of marriage, which is odd.
yeah,
Maybe that's like a prenup style thing, but
yeah,
then she probably hounded him enough to where he said, "All right, I'm gonna write this handwritten note to amend my will."
yeah,
You know, because that's so weird. Like, why wouldn't you just go to a lawyer and get your will amended?
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. But okay, so the 911 call happens, which is just it's bone chilling to listen to. I know I've used that phrase twice, but whatever. She has to leave the room. His wife leaves him, and she goes and opens the door for the police officer, and then the 911 call ends. But then apparently he died shortly after of the wounds sustained. He was in the hospital fighting for his life, and then she apparently was all about refusing life support and stuff. And when he passed away, she claimed that she wanted his remains for a locket that she would wear around his neck, and she had him cremated like like days, like really really fast after his death. He was cremated, which of course you can't do another autopsy, you know.
Yeah.
Did I say autopsy? My freaking mouth is not working today. Sorry. But it's just really weird. Everything surrounding this is like, whoa, holy shit. But and then you look even more into their relationship, right? So they moved to Utah in the fall of 2005, and according to a tally in early 2010, officers had been called to assist or intervene with Coleman more than 20 times in those 5 years. And in one instance, Coleman called the police for help after he claimed he'd taken dozens of painkillers and wanted to die. So Gary's dealing with some mental illness here,
Yeah.
but some of the disputes also involved price, and apparently there was some domestic abuse going on. So it's a bad relationship all the way from top to bottom. But then there's a huge legal battle for his estate, and as far as I know, it's still kind of halfway ongoing.
Oh, really? To this day?
Well, it was in court for a while, and the ruling says that Shannon Price wanted his estate, which there was that handwritten note, right?
Yeah.
And then since they divorced, the court was like, "Well, you're not married." But she
Hmm.
said they continued their relationship, and they lived together for years, which said, "Oh, then that means we're common law married," which that's not a thing. The court rules that they were old enough to marry and they were capable of doing so, but they didn't. Like they made a conscious choice to not remarry, you know?
Yeah.
So the state rules against her. And then, as far as I know, his estate is controlled by his family still. And he sued his parents at one point for his money, you know?
Yeah. Hmm.
So it just sucks, you know? This guy he was a child star and had a very, very grim end. You know what I mean?
Seriously, he really did. It sucks because I knew this guy and I was aware of who he was, but then like I literally just found out he died yesterday,
He's
and
been
like
dead for years.
he's been dead for like a decade now, or coming up on it.
Hmm.
But it just seems like if she didn't kill him, there's just a lot of coincidences. You know what I mean? A
Yeah.
lot of loose ends, and it's just like a strange circumstance.
Yeah, and where the hell was the news?
Yeah,
Like nobody
exactly.
knew.
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
they talked about like people still talk about Prince dying,
Yeah,
and I mean,
Michael Jackson and everything.
yeah, like where was the news for Gary Coleman? He just died and that was it. I don't know. I find it crazy.
I just think it's weird how no one really picked it up, and or like I guess I don't know, like the internet wasn't as big as it is today, so I
Yeah.
guess that could also factor in.
Well, a lot of people that are even a lot of millennials don't even know who Gary Coleman is.
Yeah.
And I would say that mostly millennials control the internet. Millennials are the YouTube age. Most YouTubers are millennials,
Yeah.
and like it or not, YouTubers essentially control news at this point. So maybe it's just people aren't concerned about a sitcom star from the 70s.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like this is a cold case file if I've ever seen one.
hmm it just sucks. Is like there really isn't much to go off of. You know what I mean? Because like the only thing we have at our like disposal are like the 911 calls and like the police reports. But outside of that, I haven't really seen like any of his like friends come out. You know what I mean? And say like, oh, this
Yeah,
is what I think.
you can't put somebody in prison for their tone on a phone call, you know.
Exactly.
So it's probably never gonna be any other resolution than what's already happened.
Yeah.
But I just find it interesting that she lets cremate him as fast as possible,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like if she didn't do it, then I guess it's just a big coincidence. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. There's
I don't know.
I don't know. There's just so many things that are like, what?
Yeah, it's like this is interesting, and
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just glad she didn't get everything. You know what I mean?
for sure. Well, we can say that, but what if it was totally a coincidence and we're just complete assholes?
Well, I don't know. I
Um,
mean,
but they weren't married. They did,
Yeah, she still beat the shit out of him.
and he did say, "Why did you push me?" So that's there's that.
Dude, that okay. So you sent me the video, and I'm watching it, and I go to the comments, and this guy says, "Dude, 155." Click on it, and I clicked on it, and it's like, "Why did you push me?" And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
It's so like it sucks because like those are like pretty much his final words. You know what I mean?
that's fucked
Yeah.
up. This is why I am a fan of ranch-style homes with no stairs.
Dude, I don't know. It's just I don't know. Like,
That joke didn't land.
well, no, I was gonna say like it just sucks because like it would suck for like your significant other to like be the one to take you out of this world, the person that you trust. You know what I mean? And that you
Yeah.
like sleep with next to, happily hoping that they would want your best interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like you shouldn't meet, marry, and divorce somebody all in one calendar year.
Yeah.
That's probably first red flag.
Oh, for sure. I just feel bad for him because I feel like it was one of those situations where he was like, "Oh, I haven't found anyone else." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, "I'll take what I can get."
I hope he wasn't thinking that way. I mean, she's not bad looking. She doesn't look like your typical gold digger, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what a typical gold digger looks like.
Potato,
But
potato. I'm just fascinated with how like I didn't know this even happened, and then you texted me yesterday. You're like, "Hey, did you know about the Gary Coleman cold case?"
yeah.
And I was like, "No, not at all." And then I was like, "Oh no, he's dead." And I was like, "Oh no, she killed him." And I was like, I don't know. It was just like a really bad like rabbit hole.
Allegedly.
Allegedly killed him,
Well, no,
most
I don't
likely.
even like. Yeah, she hasn't even been charged with anything. That's like an internet allegation. But so I don't even think this guy was worth that much money, because there's an interview with him where he talks about how much he was making on different strokes, and he was making like 70 grand an episode, which in the 70s and 80s, that's quite a bit of money. But I
Mhm.
don't think this guy was a multimillionaire. And when you look at the house, it's not a nice house. It's like you're kind of just like a 3-bed, 2-bath, unfinished basement style house. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
hmm
I don't know if the basement was unfinished. It just looks like that kind of house in that kind of neighborhood.
hmm
And it could be your classic case of, I married this guy for his money, and where's the fucking money? You know,
Yeah.
where's that different strokes money? And then I don't know. I mean, it makes more sense to me that if she did do it than if she didn't.
Yeah.
Like, it would baffle me if we had a crystal ball and we could look into it and know for sure.
hmm
I would be shocked if she didn't. I'd be like, whoa, all of that shit, all those dominoes were just complete coincidences.
Yeah. If you guys haven't like heard the phone call, we're gonna like link it in the description. Go click on it and tell us what you guys think. But I think for us, we're not gonna say it, but I think we both know what really happened.
We both allegedly may or may not think what happened.
Yep. Amen,
I
brother.
think that covers our asses.